Okay, in this training we'll be covering deals management. Basically, how do you move deals through the process using Easy Rate Sheet? We're going to dive into it a little bit more than we have in other videos. So if you've seen some of the other training videos, you've probably seen a bit about what we're going to be covering in this video as well. But in this one, we're going to dive a little bit more into the deals dashboard, the different options for searching, sorting, filtering deals, as well as what batch actions are available. So, when you do multi-select, what can you do with that? Then we'll quickly cover deal review and the approval workflow, including editing deals, reviewing the AI deal analysis if you have that in your account, and then how the reviews and Q&A process works. Then we'll briefly touch on term sheets again and how you send term sheets, how e-signature works, and how you can manage term sheets. And then we'll quickly touch on visibility and reporting. Now, most of this is pretty intuitive, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. Try to make these training videos as short as possible. But if you look at the top section of the deals dashboard, the default page you'll see when you log in, you'll see that you can use this area to either filter your list of deals or search the list of deals. Once you get a lot of deals in there, it becomes difficult to find deals. These filter and search options helps you to find deals a lot faster. You can search by loan type, approval status, date range, or you can search by property address, guarantor name, business name. And then when you're done searching, you can click clear and it'll bring you back to the full list. When you do search for something, for example, we have Jennifer here. If I do a search for Jennifer, you'll see it'll show us just that deal. So then you'll see one deal found. It's the Jennifer Walsh deal, and all of these are test deals, so we're not displaying anybody's information. So when you're done, you can clear that. The other thing you can do is, as I mentioned, you can either select all and do certain tasks, or you can select one at a time and do certain tasks. If you select multiple deals at a time, it allows you to mark them as test, delete them, or you can view the term sheets for those and it'll just open them as new tabs. If you select only one deal at a time, it'll also allow you to add a quick note. That way you can track, conversations you have with your borrowers, deals and projects they have coming up, things of that nature. For sorting the list itself, you can sort any of the columns by just clicking on the header there of that column. You can also change the columns that you see in the list. For example, normally source is included for the current list. For this training, I've removed source, one of the default columns, and I've added date created. But you can add other columns, whatever information is helpful for you. So that's how the deals dashboard works. The next section we're going to cover is the deal details process. To get to the deal details process, just choose any deal that you want to look at. If you look at the status column, what you'll see, you've got two different status indicators on each one. The first status is the status of the deal itself, and then the second status is the status of the term sheet for that deal. So you can see on this one down here for Thomas Bradley that the deal itself is approved. That means it's qualified and approved. And you can see that a term sheet was sent and signed. So the status on that one is signed. On Rebecca Torres, the deal itself is approved and it says pending, which means a term sheet was sent but has not yet been signed. Marcus Johnson, the deal again is approved, but the term sheet has not yet been sent. And then you can see, on these four, they were auto-approved. That means they met the criteria for the pricing products that I have in this account. And none of them have had a term sheet sent out. So to get to the deal details for any of these, you'll just click on that deal. So I'll choose this Jennifer Walsh deal. Okay, once that opens up, then you'll see if all of the fields have been completed. You'll see that here. If there's any missing information, for example, if you use the quick term sheet form, then there'll be some fields that you need to fill out here to be able to finish pricing and getting the deal. But in this page, in the step 2 of the deal details process, You can edit the deal itself by clicking edit here, or here, or here. It's a little bit confusing, but you see this loan pricing section here. If you click this edit, that's for editing the loan pricing, where you can increase or decrease origination points for that deal. You can add yield spread to it if you want to. And then when you're done, you can recalculate the pricing. If you want to edit the deal details for the guarantor or for their borrowing entity or for the collateral property or any of those, click any of these other edit options and you'll be able to go in and see the details and edit the details. There are some fields that you cannot edit. So for example, if I go down here to loan and terms, some fields are calculated. Calculated fields you can't manually edit because it's the product of multiple numbers. It's either, for example, like an LTV calculation or a monthly payment calculation, things like that. You can't edit those calculated fields, but you can edit the many or most, I should say, of the other fields. If you have a referral partner you want to track, this is where you would do that. You would come down here and open up that section. You can click edit deals here, and then you can change it from no, there's no referral partner to yes. And then you can start entering in information. So I'm just going to say Joe Montana is our referral partner here. You can enter a phone number or not. You can enter an email address. You can enter a title if you want. But the main things that you're going to want to track here is the compensation for that referral partner external, meaning it's going to show up on the HUD and the customer's paying for that, or are you paying them out of your proceeds from the loan, which means it's internal. So I'm going to say it's internal. Then you can say what type of a fee it is. So it's either a flat fee or a percentage of origination. So a flat fee would be just it's $500 or it's $300 or it's $750 or whatever per referral. If you want to do a percentage of origination, then you just come in here, type in the percentage of origination that you want to do, and then it'll calculate that for you. And then when your deal is saved, it'll show you the portion of the compensation that is for the referral partner. So I'm going to hit cancel on that. Whenever you're ready, you can move on to step 3. Now, keep in mind, step 1 is just getting the deal into the system. So by the time you get to this page, you've already done step 1. Step 2 is just reviewing the deal. And then step 3 is reviewing the pricing for that deal. So if I scroll down just a little bit, I'm going to skip over the approval stats for just a second, since this is already auto-approved. And I'm going to show you the AI deal analysis. You may or may not see the AI deal analysis. This feature is included with certain subscription types for Easy Rate Sheet. So if you don't see this, it's not that your account is broken. You don't have the subscription required to be able to have the AI analyze deals for you. If you have that, what you'll see is exactly this. A very quick risk assessment of being, moderate, low risk, high risk, and then it'll give you the details on why it gave it that risk rating. If you scroll down, you can then see the pricing results in greater detail, fees and costs associated with the deal. And then if you scroll down, you can see details on any adjustments. So in this case, it's an 18-month deal instead of a 12-month deal, so there's a slight adjustment to the rate for that. The person's only done 2 transactions in the past 3 years, so there's a slight adjustment for that. And that's it. Those are the only 2 adjustments on this deal. You can also come down here if you want and add custom fees. So if it's a specific deal, you're having to pay for their inspection or something like that, you can put that in right here. And then when you're done, you can move on to the next step. But before we do that, let me just explain these options right here. So if a deal is not approved and you have employees using the system, when a deal is submitted that's out of compliance with your pricing requirements, it'll automatically create a review request. And that review request will show up here for whoever on your team is doing the reviews for your employees. If it shows up as auto-approved, but it's a new employee, as an example, and they're like, hey, I want to make sure I did this right, so I need somebody to review this for me, they can click Request Manual Review, and it'll send a notification to whoever you have on your team, kind of putting a second set of eyes on the deals for you. If the deal is reviewed, but then you ask them, hey, can you go track down this or find out that, then you can submit, re-review the deal to say, hey, I've got the other information you requested. And then sometimes you'll have, borrowers who, you have a lot of experience with, so you're not going to require as much information from them, or you might give them a higher LTV or LTC on their deal, and that's where you can use the manual adjustments. So you can manually adjust the rate for your borrowers, and you can manually adjust the LTV, LTC. So you can just type in the amount that you want to adjust by, or you can move it up in increments. When you're done with those adjustments, then you're ready to move on to the final step, which is sending the term sheet. So on this step, if you want, you can preview the term sheet. I'll just click on that and show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's the term sheet for this deal. You can scroll through and see all of the key information that's included, the cash to close section, the funds to be verified before closing, and then the signature section there. Okay, so that's what the term sheet looks like. If you're happy with that, you can just click send for signature. It'll already include their information. You hit send, and your borrower will receive an email with a link to Zoho Sign where they can see that, and they can accept it or reject it, and they can sign it if they accept it. If you have integrated with GHL for your CRM, you can move deals around between accounts in GHL here. If that's not applicable to you, you don't have to worry about that. The other main thing I wanted to point out on this is you can take notes again on the deal here. So there's multiple places where you can take notes. This is one of the other places, but you can also see here the follow-up timeline for your term sheets. When you send a term sheet, that's day 0, the term sheet is sent. 24 hours later, the borrower, if they haven't signed it already, they're going to get a reminder. On the 4th day, so 3 days after the first reminder, they're going to get another reminder. If 1 day later they still haven't signed it, then you're going to get a notification saying, hey, your borrower so-and-so still hasn't signed their term sheet. Please follow back up with them. So once you send it, then you'll be able to see in the dashboard the status will be changed from pending or not sent to signed, to pending if you've sent it but they haven't signed it, and it'll be marked as signed once they sign it. So that's kind of the main process for managing deals in the dashboard and managing deals through the deal details process. The last thing I want to show you is visibility on your deals through reports. So if I click on reports, the first page you'll see is just basic KPI reports, if you will, for your deals. And you can scroll through that and see what information is provided in the reporting. But the main tabs I wanted to show you in here are the Deals tab. This looks very much like the Deals dashboard, except that you can, again, manage the columns. You've got more columns to work with here. So you can pull up more columns or remove more columns so that you get just the information that you want. But another thing you can do here that you can't do in the Deals dashboard is you can export to CSV. So this will allow you to export deals, do your own reporting, import into other systems, whatever you want to do, and then to get a kind of high-level visual of where all the deals are at in your system, you can click on the pipeline here, and you'll see how many you have in draft mode, how many you have in pending review, approved to send, signature pending, signed, or rejected. So it's a great way to be able to see your literal pipeline in every stage of the process. So very convenient reporting options there for you. Anyways, that's all the training for this topic. I hope that helps. Again, most of it is very intuitive, so I encourage you to just log in and start using it. As you use it, you'll learn it, but hopefully this video kind of helps you to navigate your way around. Thanks.